Welcome to Hard to Kill 2023 review. See the title? You're going to be thinking, oh damn, finally, he's saying something great about Impact Wrestling. I always say something great about Impact Wrestling, but I'm always honest. But as you can see at the end of that sentence, a great pay-per-view, but I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not like everyone else who kisses ass. I'm gonna tell you exactly what was in front of you when you watched the show. If you didn't notice it yourself, I will tell you what I saw. Whether you like it or not, it's gonna be up to you. But what did we get? We got a damn good pay-per-view, but with a lot of issues. The majority of the issues were the stream, the audio, the lighting. Definitely the one thing that I don't understand. Before I get started on the kickoff show and the show, I want to say this all right now, because then you don't have to hear me say it at the end of this review, because this is going to be a long one. Let's make this very clear. The camera work wasn't great. They were still doing too many zoom-ins. The audio wasn't great. When it came to anything that was going to be shown on their Tron, the audio was crap. It was bad. Even in the back, with one of the matches, you could see how screwed up their production was, because when you looked at Macklin and Swann before they started having their fight with the no counts anywhere, you can see that Rick is about to be interviewed, and then you see that they start talking quick until the recording stopped, or better yet, when the stream was actually working correctly. It was a lot of production snafus. The one thing that pisses me off, the thing that I don't understand what Impact is doing wrong. Guys, I believe I got a shot of it. It's in my face. This is the Atlanta crowd. Now, mind you, it's like 32 to 36 degrees in Atlanta right now. Hotland is cold. It's at night. But the place was hot. The crowd was loud. Why didn't we see the entire fan base that was in the damn venue? Look at it again. Look how freaking dark it was. What was the point of darkening out the entire venue when this would make it easier for people at home to feel like, dude, Impact Wrestling is a place to watch, because you can see how many people that are there. They had a packed crowd, and they weren't willing to show the damn place. Who the fuck signed off on that? You could see whenever they did pan around, there looked like there was a good amount of people that were in the entire venue, and they refused to show them. What was the point of being in a bigger venue and you show no one? That shows they got nothing up here. But I will take nothing away from the content that was produced by the wrestlers themselves. Now, kickoff show. We had 2 matches. 2. The first one was a 6-way tag. It didn't say it was for the X Division #1 contendership, but probably is going to go there. Now, we got a lot of people in there. I can't remember them all. But the 2 that stuck out to me was Speedball Mike Bailey and Mike Johnson. Guys, the guy is 73 years old. When he started wrestling, if I remember correctly, he was already in his 30s, nearly 20s, when I was born, and he was already wrestling for a while by then. He's 73. Still willing to go in the damn ring. Now, most people would say he must be like a nut, like a Ric Flair. Look, wrestlers don't always know when to stop. Or wrestlers counting on one if they physically are capable to go, like a Daddy Ass, Billy Gunn, or like a Dustin, who just don't look their age. You got a Mike Johnson, who literally looks very thin, very old and frail, but still is physical enough in the ring to believe that he won't hurt his ass. Of course, he's being very careful. You can see that certain things he did, he was trying to be careful, and the wrestlers were trying to be careful with him, until he decided to start doing suicide dive outside the damn ring and then do a dive off the top turnbuckle. Now, I have seen him do that in NWA, jumping off the top turnbuckle. He has done it. But doing a suicide dive, that's the first time I've seen him do it. At least in a very long time, if I haven't seen it at all. That was good. Now, Kateska, he is the one who won. Here's the thing. Does that mean all those guys that are there are going to be shown by Impact TV? I don't know. The major problem we always have with Impact is simple. They don't always show everybody, and they don't schedule to show them on the TV or on the show. They usually will show them mostly on BTI, counting on how much of BTI is not dedicated to what happened last week. I'm just saying. Now, the X Division match between Black Taurus and Trey Miguel. I'm going to tell you this. I was not feeling Trey before he turned heel. He needed to change. Him being X Division champion, I liked him before when he had the right type of person working with him in a feud. But as it was, I wasn't feeling him until he turned heel, and I feel him. I see you. I see you, Trey. I see you. As a heel, he is damn good. He threw a little bit of the Rascals into his character, which is fine. But here's the thing. He had to cheat to win, which was fine. But then it hurts me because of Black Taurus. Black Taurus has been with the company for more than a few years. I don't remember how many years it's been, about 5 years, easily 6 at this point. And essentially speaking, I really wish they do more with him. I really wish he won the X Division title. Now, I don't remember if he won the tag titles. I don't remember at this point. I don't think he ever did with Crazy Steve or Abyss before he left. But honestly, Black Taurus deserves the title. He deserves one. Either to get some with Crazy Steve, or he deserves to get the X Division. Hell, give it the Digital Media Championship at this point. I'm not saying because of Moose. I'm just saying before Moose, he deserves something. He's worked his ass off for this company. And he deserves more than just to be like he is. Like, guess who? Dorado Kid. That is the same thing. I'm just saying. And both these were not bad for a warm-up for the show. It wasn't bad. I was alright with it. Opening contest. Full Metal Mayhem match. I was not feeling this at first because I'm going like, why would they go like this? I know that Mickie James is going to close. I know. But I didn't think they'd go that far with her. But they made this the opening of the show. Was it good? Yes. Was it great? No. I'm sorry. It was really good. But it was not great. And that's not taking anything away from Josh or Bully Ray. There was a lot that was shown on this show. So it wasn't meant to be great. It was meant to be good. Very good. Once you saw most of what was being done, once both of them were busted open, once the thumbtacks got involved, and the one spot I didn't expect them to do. I don't believe I got a shot of it. But you got, I guess he decided at that point, and that's Josh, he just wanted to splat him on the ramp. He just wanted to splat him. So he climbed up onto the ladder that he set up. But then Bully Ray got up and then tipped the ladder and made sure that he fell back into the ring on top of the thumbtacks. Guys, I don't care who you listen to me. Hear my words. I don't care if you like Josh or not. You can hate his ass because of the way he dresses. You don't have to like him for the way he talks. But you got to say the guy is freaking tough because I don't care what you think. He just fell backwards over 10 feet in the air into a ring that is not heavily padded. It is mostly wood with very thin matting under it with basically a canvas holding it all together. And he landed on thumbtacks to his freaking ass. his tailbone and ass straight on it. No matter how much you want to say something about him, what he just did, that's not something you normally do. That is incredibly dangerous and incredibly painful. Even though he's wearing his trunks, and it doesn't mean that they'll just rip through the trunk and go up his ass, it could have. That is dangerous. It could have ripped open his trunks, and anything could have gone into him and could have done severe damage to him internally. I don't care what you said, that is dangerous. But he took the pain, he took that hit, and the thing that was interesting, when Skylar and Hotch came out, beat him up, zip-tied him, Tommy comes out. Everyone thought Tommy was going to turn heel. I hoped that Tommy turned heel, but I didn't think he would. They teased it. He faces Bully. Bully's got a trash can. Bully turns around. Tommy grabs it. Everyone was expecting it. Everybody wanted it. I wanted it. I wanted to see Tommy a little bit different, but Tommy doesn't go there. He basically whacks Bully on the head with it, but then he gets a spear for his trouble. After that, it is pretty much Jen. Did I like Jen coming into the ring and trying to protect her husband? It's not something that has been done before, so I was all right with it. But, I gotta say but, I was not happy seeing that, it wasn't great seeing her begging and pleading, because they looked really bad. Not because a woman should be doing that, it's because she doesn't act that well. I'm sorry, her acting wasn't that good. It just wasn't. But was the nut shot effective? Yes, it was. Did the sliced bread? I think she did sliced bread on him. I can't remember. Either she did a tornado DDT or sliced bread. I can't remember which one at this moment. But once she did that, she grabbed a chair. Well, she cut her husband free. Both of them grabbed chairs. She threw it at Bully, and then he hit, and that's Josh, hit the chair with another chair. And then Josh decided putting Bully onto a table, then climbing on another ladder, the same ladder, Jen holding it, and he dives off, tries to pin him, does not, and then thinking because he's already been nailed, he does the ankle lock, and then finally Bully taps. Was it done well? Yes. Like I said, this was not a great match. This was a very good match. A slow build. I will give it to them. It was well done. I'm glad to see that it was done this way. And it's the right thing to do. Now, almost forgot. At the very beginning of the show, they did show respect to Don West. Well, I have no problem with that. They're showing love for a guy that has been the guy is so ingrained in Impact Wrestling and TNA. He had to be honored here. So I'm glad they did it. No problem with it. They did the 10 bells to show respect. Nothing wrong with that. And I'm kind of hoping that because of his involvement in Impact for so much and for so long, if his family lost their income, maybe, hopefully, Anthem and Impact Wrestling will kind of do what Tony Khan did when Brody Lee died. That his wife will be working for the company and there'll always be work for her. And they'll always have income coming in because they cared about Brody so much. That's what I'm hoping we're done. I'm just saying. Now, let's go to the next match, which was the 4-way elimination match. Motor City Machine Guns, the Bullet Club, the Major Players, and Heath and Rhino. Now, I'm going to be honest here. There was only 2 teams I knew that was going to be last. That was Motor City Machine Guns and Bullet Club. It had to be. Guys, look. Motor City Machine Guns is working for New Japan Pro Strong, as well as they're working for working for Impact Wrestling. They currently hold the New Japan Pro Strong tag titles. They're the inaugural, I think they're the first ones to hold them since they now done it. They just set up the tag belts, and they're the first ones to hold them. So I wasn't expecting them to not be respected here. But then you got Bay and Ace, who went through the tournament in New Japan Pro Wrestling back in Japan, and they were the runner-ups. So I knew Heath and Rhino were not going to be in this. Major players, they were not going to be into this. It would end up with these two, who are representatives of New Japan Pro Wrestling at this point. Ones that just left after being the runner-ups in their tag tournament, and the other ones who are holding not just the Impact titles, but the New Japan Pro Strong, the American version of New Japan Pro Wrestling, they're holding their titles too. I thought either it was going to be Bullet Club that's going to win, or Motor City Machine Guns. But I didn't expect Motor City Machine Guns to lose here. But I kind of wish that Bay and Chris won. Not Chris. You see where I'm upset. I really do believe Ace Austin and Chris Bay should have won. Honestly, I do believe they should have won it. I don't think it would have hurt the Motor City Machine Guns to drop those titles to guys who came as a runner-up in one of the most prestigious tag tournaments in the world. I think they should have won it. Now, of course, I have not seen it. I didn't see it. But it doesn't mean I don't know or recognize that they busted their butt to get through a month of all those tournaments, all those matches through the tournament. I'm just saying. Now, here is the thing that everyone was wondering about, even me. The Digital Media Championship of Joe Henley versus a Moose. I wasn't sure how this match was going to be. I wasn't sure if Joe was going to be great at it. I wasn't sure if Moose was going to have good chemistry with it. And I wasn't sure how it was going to end. I knew Moose had to win it. No matter if you like Joe Henley or not. He had to drop that thing to Moose because Moose has to have something to do. Moose is a high caliber member of that roster. And he can elevate that Digital Media Championship more than anyone. Look what he did for the TNA title. That was a dead title, and he didn't just elevate it. He made it relevant and made himself relevant on top of it. So I know he can do something if they book him right. If. But when the match happened, I was pleasantly surprised how good chemistry they both had. They were both very similar in their movements, their attitude, and like the 4-way elimination match, which was good, this was also very good. Both matches were very good, back to back. I will say this one was a better match because being a 4-way eliminator match, it's very hard to keep track of everything, and the camera work in Impact is still not good. As you can see, they were doing this most of the time. They were either zooming in on ass, or zooming in on crotches, or zooming in on faces, sloppily. So, you get my point, guys. But still, this was a good match when you were able to see it. And they showed a lot of it. A lot of overhead shots, which I've been very much approving of. The more they do overhead shots, if they just can't do it with the cameraman on the side, the better. Because we get more what's going on in the ring. Because the side guys, the guys who are running the cameras on the side just can't capture what's going on if they got to zoom in for more dramatic effect. It doesn't work. So, by the time it was near its end, Moose got sick and tired of this, decides to grab the Digital Media Championship. He's going to whack Joe Henley in the face. But he doesn't. He nutshots him after the ref grabs the title and puts it back. And he wins. But that's when the magic happens. If anyone saw my previous Impact Wrestling review, I wasn't sure who was going to be this new person because when Gail announced it, I was worried. Worried that it might be a Tommy Dreamer. Worried it could be someone that being brought back that we wouldn't care that much about. That wouldn't have any name recognition. But we got someone. Santina Marella, formerly, well, I can't remember his original name at this point, I forgot. But the guy who used to be known in WWE as Santina Marella was able to claim the name. It looks like the rights to the name, the trademark, lapsed. And it looks like he managed to get his hands on it, or Anthem or Impact managed to get the rights to it. So it's either him, legitimately, the guy, I can't remember his name, Anthony, I believe, I'm sorry, I don't remember all the time every real wrestler's name. I don't keep track of it. But he's claimed the name. He managed to get it after the trademark had lapsed. And now he's known officially as Santino Marella. Now, maybe that's only for Impact, or maybe he owns the rights, which I hope he does. He should. So now, he is in Impact Wrestling. And let's make this very clear. Is Santino Marella funny? Fuck yes. Is he a character that you can get behind? Yes. Is he have name recognition? Everyone remembers the Cobra. Everyone remembers Santina. Everyone remembers when he worked with, yes, I know not everyone cares about Tamina, but he made her more important, more relevant because of his comedic ability. Next to being a good wrestler, he has tremendous comedic ability. So they made a very good decision in hiring him. I don't know how long his contract is. No way of knowing. But it's good to see him there. And I'm glad he's there. 100%. So in the last couple of months, they've gotten Joe Henry, counting how long his contract is. They now have Santino Marella, which is very good. Who else was coming back? I don't know of most of the people who were in that six-way match is staying. But at least we got two people that are very interesting. Now, next. I knew this had to happen. I've said this had to happen. And it did happen. The Knockouts #1 contendership match. You got Killer Kelly. You got Taylor Wilde, who basically is a Wickham. I have to admit, I'm going to say this. You know what? No, I'm not going to get involved in that. I didn't realize it. She hides it very well. Her belief in Wickham. That's actually smart. You also had Deonna Purrazzo, and you had Marsha Slamovich. There was only two there that made the most sense. And it was not Killer Kelly, and it was not Taylor Wilde. It was going to either be Marsha, or it was going to be a Deonna Purrazzo. I knew it had to be Marsha Slamovich, because it would make sense to have Deonna Purrazzo go after who would win, because she's going after both of them. But in this situation, for Marsha to be relevant, she had to win. Not just because she walked away and beat the crap out of a ref. It was the point that all that time last year, where everyone was hyping her up, saying that she was so important, so great on the indies, and they booked her like crap in Impact. If anyone says, I watched her and she wasn't booked like crap, no, you're wrong. I'm sorry. You are wrong. She was booked very poorly. Because of what happened with the Ukraine war, they had no clue what to do with her due to the fact they had to change her music because it was more Russian orientated. And then after that, they didn't know what else to do with her. They fed her people, but in the end, it didn't give her anything. She was not a Goldberg. No matter how much work she did on the indies, it's how they book you in the main promotion like Impact Wrestling, even if it is very diminished. So she had to win. I'm not surprised. It was a good match, but I was not surprised. Not one bit she won. She had to. Now, the match that I felt was way better than I thought it was going to be. Macklin versus Rich Swann. And this is why I said in the early of this video, when Rick Swann was being interviewed by Gina, you could see them talking, but then it was like the video and audio were completely out of whack. And that shows production problems. And I don't think it was due to the fact of Fight TV messing up. That was an Impact Wrestling problem. That was not a Fight TV problem. So when the fight started, he was talking to her. She was holding this like that, real fast. And then it seemed to settle down, and everything seemed to work after that. And I'm surprised we didn't see any breath from either one of them. It's like 34 degrees. And I was wondering how cold it was in Georgia. So while the match was going on, I Googled to find out what the temperature was outside. It was like, 36 or 34 degrees in Georgia at this time? Well, at least at that time, it was cold. And both of them out there with almost nothing. Being active like that will always keep you warm. But was it well done? Heck yes. This shows you how good Macklin is. And Rick as well. But the thing here, Macklin should now be pushed. Because at this point, he's gone through everyone that's relevant. And they need someone to deal with Josh, because Josh now won. Macklin needs to be pushed. He needs to be pushed into the main title scene for a while, because they got no one else. Unless they're going to start bringing in more people for Josh to eat, which he's not a Roman Reigns. I'm sorry. I'm not taking anything away from Josh. It is hard work in the ring, and he reasonable work on the mic. But he's not a Roman Reigns. He's just not that charismatic. He just isn't. But I'm not taking anything away from all the hard work he's done. But they're going to need to feed him more people. And he's already gone through the majority of the roster that is relevant already at least once. There are very few people left. So they got to pick somebody. Macklin seems to be the next person that's going to be on the chopping block or on the waiting list. He has to be. Who else do you got next to Rich? He's already gone through Moose. He's got to go through more people. I'm just saying. But in the end, he does beat Rich. And I really did think he did some of his best work here in this Falls Count Anywhere match. It was that good. Now, here's the match I believe was one of the best pure wrestling matches I've seen in a while. Jonathan Gresham versus Eddie Edwards. It wasn't a pure match. It pretty much was a basic match. This is where I am very glad that I was able to watch this, because it was so well done. Now, mind you, the ending could have been different. I'll explain in a minute. But seeing Jonathan Gresham in his hometown, I knew he ain't going to win. Because Impact Wrestling is not much different than WWE. If you're in your hometown, it's very rare for you to win. Rare. Almost impossible to win. Especially at a pay-per-view. You very rarely win. Unless you're slated to win, you very rarely win. But taking away from that, this was an excellent, generally, how can I say this? As anyone knows, when it comes to pro wrestling, you have several criteria. It's the actual moveset, the psychology of the match, and then the flow of the match. Psychology and flow is a bit different, because how you think to affect the crowd as you do the match is not just the same as having chemistry with that person and flowing with that person in the match. There is a difference. And they flowed very, very well. I do believe how Gretchen's shorter stature did not affect the match at all. It's very rare to see that Eddie Edwards is bigger than his opponent. So in this situation, it actually flowed very well. The psychology was very well done. I don't know about anyone else, but the way the psychology of this match was structured, seeing that this was pure wrestling. Yes, of course, you know that Eddie was going to cheat, and he does. But a little bit, taking little bitty jabs and going a little bit beyond just doing regular wrestling where he's got to be warned. That is Eddie's current criteria right now, because he's still from Honor No More and he's still trying to recover himself. He wants to bury the past. In the end, cleanly, Eddie Edwards wins, which I don't agree with. I do believe Jonathan Gresham could have lost, didn't need to lose. He could have won here. He could have. And it would never affected the ending of what happened. Because when it was over, the lights faded, we saw lightning on the Tron, and PCO was in the ring with a shovel spitting out sand. He was spitting freaking sand out of his mouth. That is what I call dedication to your character and to the story. Thank you, PCO. I don't know if he was hurt in the last couple of months and it took him time to finally come back from his injury, or they just didn't have anything for him. Only thing I know is that he pretty much came in with that shovel, beat the crap out of an Eddie, And now you're going to get this. You got Eddie and PCO, what people have been waiting for anyway. We knew PCO had to come back. We saw his hand come out of the dirt when they were in Las Vegas, and it wasn't done that well. That Las Vegas cinematic was not done very well, but we did see PCO's arm stick out of the ground. It's what we were waiting for. It had to happen, and it did happen. But the question is, how are they going to structure the feud now? And what does this mean for Jonathan Gresham? He just lost. Now, it shouldn't hurt him, but I don't think he needed the job here. He could be one of the next people to deal with Josh Alexander. I'm being honest here. If it's not Macklin, it could be you could start building up for a Josh Alexander going up against Jonathan Gresham. Now, we got two more. We got, how many matches are left? We got one more match. And it's the one that was the most important. But before I get started, I haven't forgotten about Kaz. Frankie Kazarian came out. And I do believe it was during the time of the 4-way eliminator match. Once you saw Motor City Machine Guns win. He came out right after they won. And he walks to the ring. And he says, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am back. I had a lot of thinking I had to do. When I came back, I wanted to win the title. And when it came down to it, I couldn't do it. But I realized something. Something happened. I had to make a decision after that happened. Because I noticed when I went back to where I was before, it didn't feel right. Something didn't feel correct to me. When I was here, I felt something. But where I went back to before, I didn't. So I had to make a choice. Do I continue staying in a place I didn't feel right about? Or do I come home? Ladies and gentlemen of Impact Zone, I have now come home and I have taken a long-term contract with Impact Wrestling. Yes, Frankie Kazarian is now back at Impact Wrestling. I actually thought he could be the new general manager, which now Santino Marella is doing. But seeing that he's back does give some opportunities, maybe, for the main title. Because I do believe they're going to make him go after the X Division, which I don't want him to go after it again. I'd rather see him go after the main title. Because they need more people for Josh or whoever becomes champ. Eventually, they need someone to go after. And Frank he is the future. It's not just because of what was stated when Impact Wrestling was TNA and he was at the very beginnings of it. At this point, they need veterans that were from Impact's original past to help really spark new wrestlers coming in. Because at this point, the way Impact is structured, it's very bad. I'm sorry. And mind you, I'm going to talk about the last match, which is special to me personally. But they need to do something. Impact needs something. And honestly, especially what's going on with WWE and the possible selling, maybe. We still don't know if they're going to sell. Because there's still no information that the Saudis have actually purchased Impact or anyone else for that matter. And Vince could still keep it if the thing falls through. If Vince decides, and I know I'm going away from Impact to Vince, I'm just saying, if Vince doesn't manage to sell it, or if he changes his mind and keeps it, a lot of people are going to get very pissed. Impact has an opportunity right now, like AEW. This is their chance. They need to change badly the way they work, the way they structure their show, the way they do the production. They need it. Because with WWE being the way it is at this moment, being so uncertain, and particularly so many people are wondering if it's going to go to Saudi Arabia, how are the women going to wrestle? How are the women going to be managers? If there'll even be women in WWE or going somewhere else, and knowing full well there's a very strong chance Vince will go back into creative and people will leave again. This is a chance for Impact to figure themselves out and get somewhere if there's so much controversy with WWE. Impact and AEW have a chance. They need to take it. Finally, guys, I'm going to tell you something. This match was the best match of the night because of the way it was structured, long term, how the match... let me crank back. When Mickie James came back, after she lost to Chelsea Green, who's gone back to WWE, when she does this final rodeo, I knew she had to go to the end of it and win. She's not going to be tired. She's still young enough, and she still loves wrestling enough that she's not going to quit. So I knew she was going to win this, and there's no doubt she won. We know she won. There might have been a little controversy during it, and I will bring that up. I haven't forgotten. I don't have an image of it, but I know it's being talked about. I know about the tap on Jordynne Grace like this, but then they released it. I know. I will talk about that. But I knew she was going to win. It was going to be how they structured this. And as I've already talked about Marsha Slamovich, I knew she would probably be the first woman that would go up against, if she managed to win, a Mickie James. It would not be a Jordynne Grace. Flat out, I knew. So how did I feel about this match? It was a very well done match. I think there was 6 to 7 fake pins. Now, I don't like them normally, but due to the fact that this was such an important match, where if Mickie loses, she's going home, and after what happened at the very beginning, before the match even happened, look guys, Mickie's family was there. I believe I have a shot of it. Even Donovan was there. The only person that wasn't there was Nick Aldis. I kind of wish he was there. I wish he had been there. That's what I wanted. I wanted Nick and Donovan to be there for their mom and for his wife. That's what I wish he had been there. But the rest of her family was there. Her parents were there. And the very opening, for me personally, you see in my face, they had a drum dance done briefly for at least about a minute or two. I never really say about my own way that I feel about things, but as I've said before, a very long time ago, I'm not a Christian anymore. I was born Catholic, but always deep in my heart, when I was growing up, Native American culture and Chinese culture, for some strange reason, always pulled at me. I say this honestly, as someone who doesn't understand why. And I haven't checked my heritage yet. I haven't gone to Ancestry and then done the DNA test. I'm probably going to do it eventually. But as I was growing up, I've always had this really strong feeling towards Native American culture. The second was Chinese culture. Even though I have black and Puerto Rican blood in me, my mom's side supposedly has Indian and Chinese. And that's where I get it from. For me, anything Native American always made me highly emotional and cry. It sounds like, oh, you're a 51-year man nearing 52. You cried just seeing something like that? Fuck yes, I did. And I did. When she did that, she was in the center of that drum dance, and she was a part of it. And for all the years I've seen Mickie James, she's never gone that far doing something like that. She's always worn Native American garb, and most of her matches when they're very important. But this was the first time she ever did something like that. She's done cowboy stuff, like a cowgirl, but never direct, straight Native American stuff like that. That made me cry. And I'm not ashamed to say it because in my own heart, I feel it. So that means something to me. So seeing that, just that part made this was incredibly special for a person who's always felt that kind of thing in his own heart. And then the match happened. And seeing that Jordynne Grace was the heel in this was the perfect thing. Seeing that Mickie James was the face was the right decision. And clearly this is how the match was structured. About 7 fake pins, at least 7 to 8 fake pins near the end of that match. It got very active at the end. The very beginning, Mickie James and Jordynne Grace shook hands. But it was made very clear, I ain't jobbing to you. And the other one saying, neither am I going to job to you. And at one point, they were smacking each other in the face. Mickie James smacked her like 3 times in the face, getting pissed off because she couldn't get over on her. And then Jordynne Grace just said, bitch, you smacking me in the face? Bang! She whooped that ass for a second. That was well structured. As I said, what the criteria for a very well-structured match is: chemistry between the two. Can they make the match flow? Even though they have chemistry, they have to have good timing so the match will flow right. Then also how they structure the match with psychology. They have to set up the match so the fans in the venue will truly get active. And it's nearing 11. So they became incredibly active for Mickie James. They were active throughout the night. And I wish to thank the Georgia crowd. This crowd was great. Shame Impact Management chose not to show them. You stupid motherfuckers. You could have shown them. They were that active. Even if the place wasn't fully packed, you should have shown them. Because they were so loud. You can hear them. That shows they did a great job in structuring this show. And that match was so well structured. By the time it was over, the crowd just cheered their asses off. But here's where it gets interesting. Near the end of the match, when Jordynne Grace tried twice to do two sleepers. The first one, she got her, and it looked like Mickie James managed to break out, and she didn't tap that. But when she did the second one, no, it was the first one, not the second one. The first one, she started going like this on Jordynne, like that, briefly. And even the guys in the commentary, Tom and Matthew, they thought she tapped. But then she managed to escape it by trying to pin Jordynne Grace. So that I might think might be a catalyst for them to have a second match eventually. Because there's a good chance before Marsha, Jordynne Grace may look over the footage and say, I had her. She tapped. That ref was wrong. He didn't see her tap when she tapped. So that is a possible controversy we will probably hear in the next week, maybe, if they go there. But by the end of it, when it was all said and done, Mickie James wins the match. Her family comes in the ring. Donovan comes in the ring. Was it Donovan? Yeah, Donovan. Her son comes in the ring with her mother, her father, I believe her uncle, and I don't think it was a brother, maybe. But her entire family was there, which was beautiful. And I can say to this, was this a good pay-per-view? It was a great pay-per-view. But I'm not getting impact. This was a great pay-per-view. You could easily watch it. All the matches were generally seen. You could see it. Audio was not great, obviously. There was glitching in the stream where the audio glitched out bad. Or it was Impact themselves when it came to actual videos. Because next to the glitching in the stream, which seemed to be dropping on and off, Impact's audio was bad. Then they wouldn't show the fans. The fans were key. They were so loud, you could have easily shown the fans, but they didn't. Then, when it came to camera wasn't that great, but it was still visible. Honestly, it was not a great show. They made big mistakes, but still, it was a great show with problems. And I will tell you, if you haven't watched it, watch it. Just be mindful that there's going to be lighting problems, particularly you're not going to be able to see any of the fans. The camera also still had issues doing this, or right when they should be zooming back, they don't because they're acting stupid, either at the hard cam or the cameraman. But essentially, even with all the issues, it's still a great show. And I hope you enjoy this Hard Times 2 review. Well, Hard Times 2. No, what am I saying Hard Times? I'm thinking about NWA. I got to get back to NWA. I've been theming to do it, but every time when I'm ready to do it, there's something that happens. Hard to Kill. I'm sorry. 2023 review. Please give me a comment. Maybe give me a like. I guess I botched it because I don't like asking, could you give me a like or two? I'm hoping you will. Peace.